Okay, just for a second. Close your eyes and just listen. What do you actually hear right now? Maybe it's the low hum from your computer or distant traffic. Maybe a TV in another room. Okay, hold that thought. Now imagine that sound, whatever it is, not just being there, but getting louder, constant, relentless, that subtle hum just escalating into this overwhelming clamor.
It really is the backdrop to our lives now, isn't it? This constant presence of sound, often unwanted sound, that honestly many of us barely even register consciously anymore, but it is there, and increasingly it's being recognized for what it is. Not just annoying, but noise pollution. A fundamental disruptor, really, to our well-being and, well, the natural world around us, too.
That's such a crucial point. It's not just a nuisance. It's a profound environmental stressor. And so in this deep dive, we really want to unpack how this pervasive force impacts, well, everything. Our health, our mental state, even things like creativity, and as you said, the delicate balance of our ecosystems. Our mission today, it's really to uncover the science-backed benefits of reclaiming quiet. And maybe more importantly, share some practical, actual ways you can start reducing this environmental stress and hopefully find a bit more peace.
Exactly. So maybe let's start right at the beginning. What is noise pollution fundamentally? Well, in simple terms, it's defined as excessive, displeasing noise. Sound that actually damages the balance of normal life. Think of it less as just sound and more as an intrusion, an unwanted presence.
An intrusion, I like that. And when we think about where it comes from, the sources, well, big cities immediately spring to mind, right?
Oh, absolutely. Transportation is the big one. Cars, trucks, trains, planes, that constant flow. Road traffic noise is definitely the main culprit globally.
But it's more than just traffic, isn't it?
Yeah, much more. We're talking about construction noise, the thrum of building tools, maybe loud music bleeding from somewhere, and even things like household electricity generators. Those are increasingly common in rapidly growing cities, especially in developing nations where sometimes the urban planning hasn't quite caught up with noise reduction strategies. It really is all around us.
And what's really striking, I found, is that this isn't some brand new modern problem.
No, not at all. It's fascinating. The issues with noise in cities, they go way back. We're talking ancient Rome.
Seriously?
Yeah, they were complaining about noisy carts and crowded streets thousands of years ago. It's an old, old challenge, just amplified incredibly today.
And the scale today is, well, frankly, it's staggering. The modern data paints a pretty stark picture. Look at Europe, for instance. The European Environment Agency estimates something like 113 million people are affected by road traffic noise above 55 decibels. And just to give that number context.
Right. The World Health Organization considers noise above that level, above 55 decibels, to be harmful. So that's a huge chunk of entire continent living under conditions recognized as harmful sound levels.
And for an even more extreme example, you mentioned Cairo.
Yeah, Cairo. In 2018, it was declared the world's second noisiest city. Average levels around 90 decibels.
90? That's incredibly loud for an average.
It is. And what makes it worse there is that apparently existing noise laws often just aren't enforced. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? If we've known this is a problem for literally millennia, and we have the data showing how bad it is now, why aren't we tackling it more effectively?
That's the million-dollar question, because the impact, it's so profound. Let's dig into how this constant sonic assault actually affects us personally. Starting with our physical health. I think most people intuitively feel that loud noises are stressful, but the science really lays out how deep that goes.
Oh, absolutely. It's a very real physiological stress response that gets triggered. When you're exposed to too much noise, your body pumps out cortisol, the stress hormone, and that immediately ramps things up, faster heart rate, higher blood pressure, and it's even been directly linked to a higher incidence of serious cardiovascular problems, like coronary artery disease. It's like your body's stuck in a low-level fight-or-flight mode.
Wow. And the flip side of that is fascinating, too. Just 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Literally 2 minutes of silence.
Yeah.
It can activate the parasympathetic nervous system.
Yeah.
That's the rest and digest system.
Right. Calms everything down.
Exactly. It helps slow your heart rate, lowers those cortisol levels. Just 120 seconds of quiet can start to undo the stress.
That's powerful. And beyond stress, there's the direct hit to our hearing. Prolonged exposure, especially to levels above 85 A-weighted decibels, that's sort of how loud things feel to us, that can cause noise-induced hearing loss. And it's insidious. There are studies comparing, say, mob and tribesmen in environments with very little industrial noise to people in the typical U.S. population. And they clearly show that even chronic exposure to moderately high environmental noise really contributes to hearing loss over time.
And it's not just personal, is it? It's a workplace issue, too.
Huge. Occupational hearing loss is actually one of the most common work-related illnesses around the world.
It's amazing to think silence isn't just about preventing harm, but it might actually help us heal physically.
There's definitely research suggesting that. Truly silent environments might stimulate cell growth in the brain and could potentially support faster recovery after illness or surgery, maybe by improving immune function.
So quiet as a form of natural medicine.
In a way, yeah. Our bodies seem to crave it for repair.
And that extends to our minds, too, right? Our cognitive functions.
Absolutely. I mean, it's obvious noise is a huge distraction. Studies clearly show working in silence leads to lower cortisol levels compared to working with background noise, even just background speech. It's not just annoying, it's physiological.
And it's not just about focus in the moment, is it? I remember reading about a study, Duke University.
Ah, yes, the hippocampus study. That was fascinating. They found that just 2 hours of silence a day could actually prompt cell development in the hippocampus.
Which is key for memory formation.
Exactly. So silence isn't just giving your brain a rest, it's literally helping it build and repair itself.
That makes you think about learning, especially for kids, if noise is that disruptive.
It's a really serious concern. Noise exposure, particularly when young, can impair learning and memory retention, and some effects might even be permanent. There's that classic example, the New York City school near the noisy train tracks.
Right, I've heard about that.
The kids in classrooms facing the tracks consistently had lower reading scores. But then they quieted the tracks, built sound walls.
And the scores improved.
Measurably improved. It just highlights how vulnerable children are to this invisible pollutant.
And then there's sleep. Noise just messes with our sleep, doesn't it?
Terribly. It prevents you from getting into that really deep restorative sleep.
Which leads to being tired, getting sick more often, can't concentrate. The usual suspects.
Exactly. And looking longer term, noise pollution has even been associated with faster cognitive decline as we age. It's quite concerning.
The psychological and emotional toll is huge, too.
Definitely. Silence provides that tranquil space. It promotes peace, mental clarity. The American Psychological Association reported something like 77% of people in the U.S. experience physical symptoms from stress.
Wow, that high.
Yeah, and daily silence, even short periods, can significantly reduce those stress levels.
I think I feel that personally. Constant noise just seems to shred your attention span.
It does. But embracing silence, actively seeking it out, fosters mindfulness, calmness. And that can actually build your tolerance for everyday annoyances like traffic jams or delays. You become a bit more resilient, less reactive.
That makes sense. It's like we're so surrounded by noise, we forget the benefits of just quiet.
We really do. Silence gives you that space to reflect, reconnect with what's important to you, cultivate some self-awareness. It's like turning down the external volume lets you turn up your own internal insight.
It's also worth mentioning that how we experience noise isn't purely objective, is it? It's cultural, personal.
Oh, absolutely. Decibels aren't the whole story. Think about a loud car engine. For one person, it's irritating noise. For another, it might be a symbol of power or status.
Right. Or just the different soundscapes. In a city, a busy market versus a quiet suburb, that often reflects urban design, even class differences.
And we also need to remember specific sensitivities. People with autism spectrum disorder, for example, often experience hyperacusis.
That's extreme sound sensitivity.
Yes, often painful sensitivity to everyday sounds. It can cause intense fear, anxiety, leading them to avoid noisy places, which can be incredibly isolating. Sudden explosive noises like a car backfiring, particularly distressing.
So it's clear the impact on humans is massive. But noise pollution doesn't stop with us, does it? It reaches deep into the natural world.
Oh, absolutely. It's affecting animal behavior, their communication, their very survival. It's like an invisible threat spreading through ecosystems.
How do animals even cope? Or do they?
Well, some show fascinating adaptations. Urban robins, for example. In really noisy areas, they've shifted their singing to the nighttime.
Because it's quieter then.
Presumably, yes. They're trying to find a window where their calls can actually be heard, but that's a fundamental shift in their natural rhythm. And generally, noise pollution reduces species richness in urban parks. It impacts bird reproduction, their ability to hear predators approaching, finding good nesting spots.
But I read something surprising. Sometimes noise can actually help certain prey animals.
Ah, yes, that's a very specific kind of counterintuitive finding. In some cases, if a predator species, like, say, the western scrub jay, is also sensitive to noise and avoids noisy areas,
then the prey living in those noisy areas get a bit of a refuge.
Exactly. It's a strange side effect. But overall, the impact is overwhelmingly negative.
And it's not just birds.
No, it ripples through. Cows, for instance. Studies show they feed less and produce less milk in noisy environments.
Wow. Even plants. How does noise affect plants?
Indirectly, mostly. By altering the behavior of the animals around them, the pollinators, the seed dispersers. If the animals change their habits because of noise, that eventually impacts plant growth and reproduction cycles.
Okay, let's dive deeper, literally, into the oceans. Marine life seems particularly vulnerable.
Extremely vulnerable. Many marine creatures, from invertebrates to fish, rely heavily on mechanosensory structures to detect vibrations and sound, especially in the lower frequencies below 10 kilohertz.
And that's where a lot of our noise ends up.
Unfortunately, yes. A lot of anthropogenic ocean noise, ship traffic, sonar construction, falls right in that range.
So what does that do to them?
It can mask their own communication signals, making it harder to find mates or detect predators. It also induces stress responses. Imagine, like underwater pile driving for construction. Squids have been observed reacting with clear startle responses, jetting away, releasing ink. They perceive it as a major threat.
And for marine mammals, whales, dolphins.
Yeah.
They rely so heavily on sound.
Critically so, for navigation, hunting, communication across vast distances. And something like cargo ship noise has dramatically increased the low-frequency ambient noise in many parts of the ocean.
So they have to shout to be heard.
Essentially, yes. It's called the Lombard effect. Whales have to vocalize louder. Humpback whales have even been observed lengthening their songs when sonar is active nearby, trying to compensate.
And dolphins.
Their whistles, vital for their social interactions, can be masked by noise from things like coastal construction. And it's not just about communication. There's evidence impacting development itself. Boat noise has been shown to reduce embryonic development by about 21% and increase mortality rates by 22% in sea hare larvae.
That's devastating at such an early stage.
It is. Even stationary animals like oysters react. They close their valves more often in response to varying noise levels. The impact is systemic, affecting life from the smallest larvae to the largest whales.
Okay, so this is, well, it's a huge problem affecting us, animals, the planet. The big question then is, what can we actually do about it? How do we find quiet?
Right. It really feels like a two-pronged approach is needed. There are things we can do personally in our own lives, and then there are the bigger policy-level solutions.
Let's start personal. Where does finding quiet begin?
Honestly, it often begins right at home. A really simple step, often overlooked, is just turning off electrical devices you're not using.
Like chargers, TVs on standby.
Exactly. They might seem silent, but many create a low-level hum, this constant background noise you might not even consciously register, but it adds up.
Okay, that's simple enough. What else?
A good rule of thumb for your home environment. If you find you have to raise your voice to talk comfortably with someone just across the room.
Then something's too loud.
Precisely. That's your cue to figure out the source and see if you can control it. And being mindful about your own sound, playing music. Keep it for yourself within your space. Don't let it bleed out unnecessarily.
What about blocking outside noise? Can landscaping help?
It can, yeah. Planting tall, dense shrubs or trees around your property can act as a natural sound barrier, absorbing some of that external noise.
And inside the house.
Soft furnishings are key. Hanging heavy curtains, blankets, or even just fabric tapestries on walls. Using rugs or carpets on hard floors, these materials absorb sound waves, stop them from bouncing around and amplifying. It can make a huge difference to the acoustics.
And thinking about noise we create outside the home. Commuting.
That's a big one. Choosing to cycle instead of driving a car or motorbike whenever possible, that directly reduces road noise. Every little bit helps.
Ultimately, it sounds like it comes down to valuing quiet more.
I think so. Teaching kids to appreciate quiet, making a conscious effort to build moments of silence into our own daily routines. It's a shift in perspective, a conscious choice.
Okay, so those are personal actions, but what about the bigger picture? Systemic solutions.
Yeah, that requires action on a larger scale, especially in urban planning. For roadway noise, there are lots of known solutions. Noise barriers along highways, stricter speed limits, using quieter road surface materials, limiting heavy vehicle traffic in residential zones. Even sophisticated traffic controls that smooth out the flow, reducing that constant stop-start, braking, accelerating noise.
And air traffic.
Quieter jet engine technology is crucial, as is planning flight paths more strategically to minimize noise over populated areas.
Has there been progress on the policy front? Are governments taking this seriously?
There has been a shift, definitely, from seeing noise as just a nuisance to recognizing it as a genuine environmental and public health problem. The EU's Environmental Noise Directive back in 2002 was a big step, a real milestone acknowledgement.
But has it worked? Have noise levels actually gone down?
That's the tricky part. Progress has been slow. Despite directives like that, overall noise levels haven't significantly decreased in many areas. There's a new EU target, the Zero Pollution Action Plan, aiming for a 30% reduction in transport noise by 2030.
Ambitious.
Very. And frankly, given past trends, a lot of experts are skeptical about whether it's achievable without much stronger enforcement and investment.
So if policy isn't always the strongest driver, what is pushing change?
Public opinion, overwhelmingly. Public awareness and pressure are the single biggest triggers for action on environmental noise.
Really, more than government itself.
According to surveys, yes. Public pressure was cited as significant in something like 92% of responses motivating noise protection efforts. Government and stakeholder pressure follows that. And technology helps too, of course. Better monitoring tools, software, accessible data, even citizen science apps where people can report noise levels. These all support reduction efforts.
What are the main roadblocks then if we know the solutions and people want change?
Money, often. Financial limitations are a huge hurdle for implementing noise reduction measures, which can be expensive. Also, complex issues in land use planning, like cities want to densify, build more housing, but that can increase noise exposure if not done carefully. Or sometimes historic buildings can't easily be retrofitted with soundproofing. Plus, there's the ever-increasing demand for mobility, more cars, more flights, and often fragmented responsibility between different government departments or levels. It gets complicated.
Which might explain why we see people taking matters into their own hands sometimes, those personal sound isolation booths you see.
Exactly. For work, for recording, for hearing tests, even as quiet sleep pods in super noisy apartments. It really shows a significant personal and sometimes professional investment in carving out those essential pockets of quiet when the environment outside remains loud.
So wrapping this up, it feels like silence isn't just emptiness, is it? It's something more.
Absolutely. I love that quote by Gordon Hempton, the acoustic ecologist. Silence is not the absence of something, but the presence of everything. It's an active presence. It sharpens focus, reduces stress, fosters well-being. Reclaiming quiet isn't a luxury. It feels essential for our peace, our health, and honestly, the planet's health, too.
And that really feels like the key takeaway for us. Finding quiet, reducing noise pollution. It's both a deeply personal journey, things you can do starting today, and it's also a collective effort, recognizing the bigger systems at play that create all this noise in the first place.
So maybe the thought to leave everyone with is this. Given how profoundly noise impacts our health, our minds, and the very fabric of our ecosystems, what shared responsibility do we all have? It's not just for ourselves, but in advocating for and actively helping to create a quieter world for everyone, for future generations, and for the natural world that can't speak up for itself? It's a big question.
And maybe the answer begins simply by listening, really listening.